I'm alone in the middle of a desert, starving, broke, and missing an arm. But why? You see, in Kenshi the whole world is against you. So for a challenge, I decided to fight the government and rid the world of slavery. Can I fight the law and actually win? Here's my plan. First, gather a squad of misfits and train them into a fighting force. Second, get them sponsored by War Thunder. Third, realize tanks don't work in Kenshi, so throw a massive bodies at the slave markets to destroy them. And finally, attack the capital and cut off the head of the snake. Now starting off, it all began in the big old desert. I could see a silhouette of a city in the distance, so I decided to head that way. Now let me tell you more about our protagonist. Break was a Southern Hive soldier who was left for dead when his caravan got attacked by slavers. But he survived, and even though he was missing an arm, starving, lost, naked, and frankly terrible at fighting, he swore to get revenge on the slavers and the government that grew fat on the broken backs of slaves. But all in good time. For now, Break had to sneak by other starving vagrants to make it to the city of Shobatai, part of the United States territory. But you see, being naked and broke in the United States was a crime, just like in the present-day USA. He is already trying to arrest me. I don't like the idea of that, sir, so I'm just gonna go in the other way. Luckily, the samurai didn't bother pursuing me, so I ran to the other gates where guards were slaughtering the attacking skimmers, whose disgusting meat Break was more than happy to eat. I then butchered them for their claws, and selling those gave me enough money to buy a backpack and a medkit inside the city proper. Becoming a scavenger was the safest way to make some money, so that's what I did for the rest of day 1, acquiring some proper clothing and even a weapon along the way. Oh, let's go, we got some katanas, boys. I then decided to cross the desert towards Heft, which had a robotics shop. Alas, the prices were all way too expensive for me, so I decided to acquire a new arm a different way. Alas, my thievery skill was pretty low, and since the limbs I could grab were all shitty quality, I decided not to risk it for the biscuit. Instead, I went to a bar where I met a retired tech hunter, a big old shag who was happy to get drunk with me. After swapping stories, he convinced me he knows everything about old ruins, and so Break accepted him into the squad. Welcome to the squad, Mr. Cheese. It's good to have you. You're gonna help me rob a place now. But we didn't actually rob a place. We bought a couple of plate jackets and then we went back into the desert. Since this was Kenshi, we got instantly attacked by a rebel farmer. Nice, boys. Very nice. We got this fool. Easy money. The fool actually had a decent katana and a bunch of raw meat that we cooked. I also decided to be a nice person, so we healed him and then promptly sold him into slavery. Hello, my friend. I've got somebody for you. 200 cats? I will take it. Yes, Break had an interesting way of fighting against slavery, but trust me, it was all according to plan. And the plan at that point was to join the Shinobi thieves. So after robbing a couple more unfortunates in the desert, we had the 10k money those thieves wanted as an entrance fee to use their facilities, which we put to good use during the day. But when the evening arrived, I decided to give thievery another try. The only useful arm here is this industrial lifter, which we have 39% chance to steal. Let's see. Nope. Since Break already got caught stealing, I decided to grab a couple more limbs to sell and then deal with the consequences. So stealthy. They have no idea what happened. Let's go. I made it out with 2 extra arms and then we went back to Shobatai. But before making it to the city, we joined in on a fight between sand ninjas and rebel farmers, and we promptly looted the losers. Then we hit the bar in Shobatai and in true American fashion instantly found a gun nut who was happy to fight the government. Welcome to the squad, Stang. You're saying you're a ranger but you do not have a ranged weapon. What's up with that, buddy? We then joined in on a couple of fights at the city gates and slaughtered more down skimmers, using that meat to feed a starving shag who was more than happy to join as well. Ah yes, perfect, a sneaky shack. Brew was actually an expert thief and an expert drunk, so he fit in perfectly, like the Chinese children fit into the sweatshops. I then decided to do some strength training, and just like in real life, the best strength training was to run around with a corpse over your shoulder. Now this is probably gonna take a long ass time to get any results. And indeed, I spent the whole day 5 running from one end of Shobatai to another, until I had enough at the dawn of day 6, with everybody gaining around 10 strength in the process. Then I decided to return to Heft, like a drunk migratory bird. And like a drunk migratory bird, we got attacked by those preying on the weak, but it turned out they were the weak ones. We're making this guy a new asshole. Heft's robotic salesman then greeted me in an insulting way, so I took that personally, and Brew showed him what a real thief looks like. With bags full of limbs, I then decided to go south towards Hank, a big hilltop city, and as is tradition, we hit the bar first, where we met Reina, a doctor drinking her woes away. Oh, Reina, I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of work for you here. Now, for those of you not familiar with Kenshi, let me give you a brief introduction before we continue with our adventures. Kenshi is a world where losing your limbs is considered a lucky upgrade, where everyone and everything will try to beat you up, rob you, enslave you, and then beat you up again just so someone else can eat you. It's a place where the only way to get tougher is to get beaten up by bullies on a daily basis, so one day you can become the bully. I'm also using Genesis, which is a total conversion mod for Kenshi that rebuilds every single city, reworks every single faction, adds and removes a million new items, weapons, enemies, and generally Genesis plays God with Kenshi, all for no real good reason besides that the game now runs slower. Now, where were we? Oh yes, Hang, bar, and a drunken doctor. With Reina in tow, I decided to continue traveling south towards Grey Desert, which went as smoothly as an unlubed ass on a hot slide. Alright boys, we got some grass pirates here that we gotta run away from, huh? While Mr. Cheese pulled the big group away, Break and the boys beat up a loner until some nomads came to help us. There you go, we got boys coming in here now to help with this fight. But slave traders decided to ruin the party, so we pulled out like a nervous teenager on his first night and limped towards the nearby way station. We sold the extra limbs we were carrying, earning us our first 20k and a well-deserved R&R at the local bar. I then recruited a skelly named Kunak and bought clothes with acid protection for Mr. Cheese, Brew, and Reina. And we needed that because Mr. Cheese kept on urging Break to do some Indiana Jones type of shit in the Deadlands. I mean, what could possibly go wrong in a place where it rains acid all year round, right? So first we stopped at a small ruin that had some valuable trash lying around. Then we pushed onwards to the Black Desert City, where we spotted skeletons fighting broken old machines, and naturally, we decided to help. Oh, these guys are weak, we got them. While they were weak stats-wise, they had a ton of HP, so it was a good training exercise for us. Oh, this is gonna get us a lot of money. Let's go. And indeed, we got a nice paycheck from the local skellies, who had a big storage full of proper prosthetic limbs I wanted to borrow. But first I needed to power level Thievery, and I told Brew to start working on that, while Break broke into a safe and the rest of the boys chilled at the bar. By the time evening hit, Brew was up to level 57 in Thievery. Alright, we can finally start stealing stuff, let's go. I gave Break a specialist grade lifter arm, then I stole 6 high quality legs as well, because I wanted to melt the legs off my flashy crew. Don't worry, that's a completely normal thing to do to your friends in Kenshi. So while they were slowly melting to pieces, Break began recruiting skeletons at the local bar, and soon Combat Unit GX6, Sadnil, and Scout joined the squad. Welcome to the squad, new Skelly boys. We're gonna have to get you some training and get some equipment, and then you're gonna be good. It took a couple more hours, but then our flashy friends finally melted. There we go, there's them legs rolling around. With everyone upgraded, my goal was to go deeper into the Deadlands, trying to avoid the nasty roaming spiders until we discovered a lost ruin. Alright, spiders, just give me a second. I'm trying to steal your stuff here, okay? Please go away. We baited the security spider outside and ran in to loot the whole place. And while I waited for Break to break into a safe, I had time to play War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, available now for free on PC and consoles. It's got a game mode for every type of player, from arcade to fully realistic, where you get to drive, fly, and sail over 2,500 tanks, planes, and ships of 10 major nations, from the old junkers of 1920s to the behemoths of modern war. Join a worldwide community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles today. Enjoy their state-of-the-art damage X-ray view, where you can appreciate just how deeply your payload penetrated into the enemy in the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. Simply the best gaming experience for fans of military history. Immerse yourself in the intense combat, where the incredibly realistic graphics and authentic sounds show you every detail as you get blown out of the sky, blown up on the ground, or sent to the bottom of the ocean, which of course never happens to me because I use their comprehensive customization options and camouflage my tanks to the point you'll never see me coming. So no matter if you're new to the game or you've played before, there's never been a better time to sign up for War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox by using my link in the pinned comment or description below. If you're a new player or you haven't played in 6 months, you will also receive a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account. The offer is available for limited time only, so claim it now. And what we claimed in that ruin was plenty of steel bars and other crafting materials, and a couple of good weapons as well, enough to completely over-encumber the whole squad. We are very slow now, so let's Let's try to make it carefully back to the Black Desert City. Alas, naturally, we got ourselves into trouble right away. But it wasn't a trouble we couldn't defeat, and at the dawn of day 10, we made it back to the Black Desert City, where it was time to haggle. We have way more than these guys can afford, so we're gonna start buying stuff back from them. I bought a good weapon for everyone, and now we had 50k in the bank, but I wasn't satisfied with that. I wanted more. So we went to ruin hunt some more, and because overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer, we soon got into another fight. This bastard's got shields. Not allowed to have shields. But while a couple of our skellies went down, we managed to chop those scavengers up something fierce. Are you yelling why you were the ones attacking me, you bastards? I stole their stuff, and then we pushed onwards to the next ruin, which we reached without any further trouble. We overloaded ourselves with goods to trade at the Black Desert City again, but on the way back, we ran into some injured cloud ninjas, who we politely asked to stay the fuck down so we could strip them naked. I had to dodge a couple of nasty spiders on my way back, but then, at a long last... there it is again, safety. Let's go. I traded in the goods, bought some more weapons, and with 83k in the bank, it was time to leave this godforsaken, acid-weeping ass crack. We finally made it out of the Murderlands, and we went back to another set of Murderlands. Yes, every place in Kenshi is its own murderland, but at least for now we were safe at the local bar. I then recruited and equipped a rebirth escapee named Kuro, and then decided to send Brew shopping with a 5-finger discount. Holy shit, that's a good haul. Let's go. Since we were still weak, I decided to do some strength training again. I grabbed all the local corpses I could find and then slowly shuffled back north into the desert. Threading the needle between 2 wolf packs. We got this. 3 wolf packs actually. Alas, wolves weren't the only thing stalking me. Soon we ran into some nomads who were happy to sell a young gyro pup to us. Oh look, we got a Steve, boys. We got a Steve. I just need to get a Steve a backpack and then we're gonna be good. But of course, hungry grass pirates wanted to hurt my Steve, and that's where I draw a line. Nobody hurts my Steve. We fought the pirates, we fought the vagrants, and we fought the slave hunters who thought us easy pickings. And these guys are former slaves who are now slave hunters, the worst people out there. I also renamed Sadnil and Scout to Kane and Apple Pie respectively, and after a couple more fights, we finally arrived to Hang, which was slowly turning into a war zone. But that didn't bother me as I proceeded to spend the day running around, leveling up strength for the whole squad. On day 14, we ventured forth once again, scouting a slave camp on our way north. Alas, we were nowhere near strong enough to tackle that yet, so we looked for enemies to fight in the desert, and it didn't take us long before we found trouble. I think the skimmers are coming to help somebody. Those nasty bugs hurt, but we survived with only Steve falling into coma. I then cashed in the 1 sand ninja with a bounty at Stoat, which gave me enough money for our next major move. And now it's time we get a bit more permanent residence. So I'm gonna buy the storm house that is out here outside the city walls for 12k. We built a research bench in our new home, and I queued up a whole line of research for Stang to work on. But I couldn't let him slack off, because like addicts searching for that next hit, we went back out into the desert to get into more fights. Alas, in our case, the hit came from a mace to the head, and those that couldn't take it were left bleeding out on the savage sands of the Great Desert. Oh, Kuro lost a leg. Dogs might have stolen Kuro's leg, but joke's on them, because we stole some real food off of the United Cities heroes we beat up. After a couple more fights, we returned home to rest, and I sent our sneaky shag Brew on a secret mission to steal a new leg for Kuro. Back at Stoat, we built a more advanced research bench so Reina could help Stang with the research. Then we went back into the desert to practice what used to be American settlers' favorite pastime, a wholesale slaughter of the indigenous population. We might lose some limbs again, but I think that's fine. Jesus, yeah, they're doing a lot of damage. We stole some of their high-grade gear, but then skimmers and rebel farmers joined the fight, and a whole hell broke loose. Why are you all against me? How about you fight each other a bit? I managed to kite them away with my 2 rangers, so we could then patch our fallen comrades up and bring them back from the brink of death. We spent most of day 17 resting and training at the Shinobi Tower. We upgraded the research bench to level 3, built our first proper bed, and placed down blueprints for a cooking stove and a leather tanning bench, which we finished the next day. With that complete, I sent the squad into the desert again, where we kicked some rebel farmer asses, whose corpses we then used to train strength as we traveled. Alas, that got us into more trouble than it was worth, and by the time we made it to the Shobatai, it was already nighttime. After resting at the Shinobi Tower, I butchered the local skimmers. Then we hit the road again. Soon we met up with the United Cities heroes, the biggest racists around, and I decided to do something about it. Let's fight, boys. Oh, Steve is already down. Come on, Steve. We took them down easily, but while I was looting them, I failed to spot the manhunter sneaking up on us. Did you steal his sword? He stole his fucking sword, you bitch. That got us into a more serious fight, but my one goal was to get Bruce's saber back. He's using our sword against us. That should be a crime. We managed to take the thief down before the rest of his squad spotted us, and then it was time to run. Whew, that was too close for comfort. But we made it back to safety of Stoat's walls, where I assigned combat unit to Leather Tanning, so he'd eventually learn how to be our armor king, and Kuro took over the cooking duties. Kane also joined him in making dried gristle flaps, which is basically burned rotten meat, so we fine dined like guests at the Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. Then I sent Brew to check the local farms. Oh, that's not even committing crime. Okay. Take all the cactuses. He stole all the cacti he could carry, because that goes extremely well as a side to gristle flaps, and soon our food supply began stacking up, even though we didn't even really need to work for it. This is beautiful. There's a slave hunter enslaved by the United Cities, and he works the farms now that we eat from. Oh yeah, I love the irony. The next morning I decided to go further north than ever before, and naturally it didn't go without some brutal fights in the desert, specifically against a big group of rebel farmers who surprised me like an uncle semi-chop from behind at a family party. Let's go, we got the skimmer as well. Victory for the boys. We barely survived that fight, but in the end, Break was the only one down for good, and luckily we were close to a high village. Alas, those bastards told us our hard-earned money wasn't good at their local strip club. Alright, we no longer have anybody that's a hiver here, you piece of shit. Fine. Everybody's a racist. So instead of resting, we had to leave back into the wilderness again, where we did a drive-by on a couple of scavengers and vagrants before we finally made it back to civilization for some well-deserved R&R. Since my scallies were quite broken by now, I decided to then continue towards Heft to fix the wear and tear, fighting throughout the desert as we went. It was then time to return home, with a herd of skimmers following us like that one-legged prostitute you refused to pay. And just like that one-legged prostitute, we buried the skimmers when nobody was looking. Slave hunters, no? We're fighting skimmers, not you. So we had to beat those guys up as well. Then we were back to cooking, crafting, and research at Stoat, while Brew stole from our distracted Shinobi friends. The next day, we hit the south route again, where we met grass pirates on the field of battle. It was long and brutal, just like the shit I took this morning. It's just Mr. Cheese, combat unit, and the 2 rangers up. We were outnumbered, but Stang and Apple Pie showed them exactly why ranged weapons in Kenshi are extremely overpowered. Combat unit taking another man down, let's go. We patched each other up and made a run for the nearby way station. Alas, Steve fell to the dogs along the way. Brew, who lost an arm in the battle, had to rescue him, while also doing a quick drive-by theft on some fallen free trader beasts. That gave us some extra spending money, which I dropped on better quality armor for everyone. Then it was time for action. Brew is gonna go on a solo mission, and he's gonna get himself a new arm. He grabbed an arm and a leg from the unsuspecting Black Desert Skellies, and he was back with everyone else faster than a lactose-intolerant man can fart after eating cheesecake. After the successful heist, we hit the road again, and then we hit a bunch of vagrants as well. We also hit an Empire Ranger who appeared to be alone and lost in the desert, but it turned out he had friends. Well, I didn't plan on fighting the Empire right now, but I guess we're fighting the Empire right now. Thusly, Kuro ended up with a bit of a bounty on his head, and once we made it back to Stoat, I realized the mistake I made. These rangers are now attacking me all over the place here. Brew hid into the Shinobi Tower, and once the rangers attacked him, the thieves joined my side. Suddenly, fights broke out all across the city, with the Shinobi mostly drawing the short straw, and while we might have started the war in the streets, we certainly weren't ready to end it. So we all hid inside our little home, but it did not stay peaceful forever. What the fuck is going on over here? How'd you make it inside? We actually saved that manhunter from slavery, and in thanks, Tarim Solstren joined the squad, and that's when I realized this was my way to save the Shinobi thieves from certain annihilation and or slavery. So during the next day, I recruited a scally named Choo-Choo, Ninja Monkey, Neith, Boss, Tia, Shin, and a Hive Ranger named simply A. Naturally, that caused some issues, and our Shinobi friends were suddenly less than friendly towards us. Shinobi thieves are no longer your ally. Well, that's unfortunate. But with the squad now stronger than ever, it was time for the next step in my plan to take down the government. The tiny shack was not big enough for us, so we grabbed everything we could carry and set out to search for a new home. Alright, let's get everybody outside before they realize we have a bunch of escaped slaves over here. Our goal was the nearby Spine Canyon, a wilderness on the edge of the Great Desert, home to sand ninjas and blood raiders who both came to say hello to us. Could you please stop shooting each other in the back? I'd really appreciate that. That'd be awesome. Oh, there's more. There's sand ninjas incoming now. While we fought, Stang found us a perfect spot for a small base, and we began by building a couple of stone mines and mining iron. We also built a stone processor, a wind generator on a hill, and a couple of cactus farms. But after surviving our first night in our new home, this happened. Taxman visit on the way to your outpost. Yes, just like in real life, the tax collector was upon our ass before we even properly moved in. And since just like in real life, we weren't allowed to legally stab them in the face, we paid up like the obedient puppies we were. Trust me, Break wanted nothing more than to squeeze the life out of those Empire bastards, but the timing wasn't quite right yet, so we worked hard and we played hard. We built a storm house, we chopped up ninjas, we chopped up hyenas, and we chopped up slave hunters, and then we started recruiting those strong enough to survive our chopping. Everyone wanted in the United Cities is a potential ally, and thusly Jonin and Torquinator joined us. A bunch of nomad beasts then tried to eat our cacti, for which we rewarded them with a butcher's knife, which gave Kuro something to cook again. Alas, for some reason, the rest of the nomads did not appreciate my actions, so we had to beat them up as well. And since this was Kenshi, the fights never stopped. We really need to start investing in some walls, huh? But first, I upgraded our cactus farms and built a new research bench. Then I sent Brew back to civilization because our resources were running low. He returned just to join in on more fights, which gave us more Octong, another recruit with a big bounty. Then we finally started building the front gate and sturdy walls, while constantly fighting off backdoor raids from ninjas, blood raiders, and vagrants. Get out of here, sand ninjas. You don't want to see what's gonna happen to you. Our defenses were coming along nicely, and so Break brought 2 more ninjas into the squad. Then I decided to send a thief team down south with Brew leading Torquinator, Morak Tonk, and of course Steve into the desert, while the rest of the guys waved goodbye. Please don't shoot yourself, buddy, the way you're aiming. They robbed Heft's robotic shop. They robbed the way station in the Great Desert, and clearly they robbed me of my subscribers, because less than 10% of you watching this video are actually subscribed. So what the fuck are you all waiting for? Subscribe now. Anyway, the thief team then moved into the acid territory next, while everyone at home prepared to defend sand, which is what we named our base. Come on guys, build that. Okay, just in time. Just in time to fight off the slavers who thought us easy pickings. But just like my childhood hopes and dreams, they melted under the harsh reality of them being mediocre at best, trying their hand against the pros. Absolutely melted. Hell yeah, we got him, boys. With that being taken care of, I could once again focus on my thieves, who robbed the Black Desert robotic shop. Then they moved towards a more dangerous target that was the scrap house. Oh, we got some good stuff over here. There were a lot more guards there, but the picking was worth it. And with Morak Tong's 100 stealth, they made out like thieves. And by the morning of day 35, they were already back in the Great Desert. Oh, look at that. You can see our place on the horizon. I love that. It's looking very nice. I shared out the new weapons, new armor, and new prosthetics. Then we continued slowly improving sand. I then sent the thief squad out once again, just so Brew could rob Heft's robotics one more time. While back at sand, we built a new house and Break recruited 2 more ninjas, just in time for a new raid. Oh, hello, United Heroes, you finally showed up, and this is it? Oh no. Oh. Yeah, there's a couple more. Since we are nice people, we let them inside. Alas, the universal truth states that once you enter sand, you never leave alive again. And so they perished to the last man, while we had some friendly fire issues. Fucking hell, Apple Pie, you just shot Stang's leg off almost. At this point, the thieves made it south to the scrap house, and I began playing with fire in an attempt to steal some really good stuff. Ancient Science book, we only have 95%. Don't fail, let's go. But my real target was the engineering research, which is where Morak's stealth skills came in handy. Okay, survive 30 seconds without being seen. Come on. Oh, he did it. We got the engineering research that I wanted. Let's fucking go. We also managed to steal an AI core, and then I tried for a long time to glitch through the wall, just so I could borrow a couple extra weapons. Leaving the Deadlands, we stopped at Hank, where I bought the samurai armor blueprint, so Brake's army could eventually sport some real proper armor. I then used the ancient scientific knowledge the thieves brought home to unlock proper plate armor crafting, and shared out the new weapons they stole amongst the squad. We then built the plate beating station on day 39, where I assigned Combat Unit to continue his armor smithing training. 3 more ninjas joined the squad then, and I assigned Topper to be an armorer as well. We then upgraded the research bench, where we unlocked the large building shells, so I assigned a watchtower to be built next to our gates for even better protection, which was built by the next morning. Why are we fighting manhunters here, guys? Is this, like, truly necessary? It wasn't truly necessary, but it was good sport. And in good sport, Brake recruited 3 more most wanted ninjas. We then built an arrow-making bench where Kane began crafting bolts for us, because of his affinity for crossbow crafting. I then loaded up Steve with the many katanas we borrowed from the ninjas we were using as pincushions, and the 4 thieves left for the desert again. Naturally, Brew robbed Heft again, but once they made it to Hank, things really became interesting. Holy shit, what's happening over here? That's a real war zone in here, huh? Brew borrowed some sturdy equipment from the fallen Blackbeard pirates, then the thieves went down south to the Black Desert City. Alright, we have 160,000 cats. I bet we can afford something good here. And indeed, we could afford something good. In fact, I bought 7 ancient science books and 1 engineering research, spending roughly 120,000 money, but it was worth it, just so I could show those skellies I am no thief. I then queued up all the high-tech research I really wanted, which allowed me to build the next level plate armor bench. And this, ladies and gentlemen, we can make samurai armor helmets, leg plates. Oh, this is good. We're gonna need copper alloy and we're gonna need armor plating. We had plenty of armor plating, but no copper alloy plates, so I sent Topper to start crafting those. We now also had access to ore drills, so we built 1, then we had some fun. If you thought you're gonna get free slaves over here, well, fucking think again. And since we were slowly getting closer to the next stage of Brake's plan, I recruited 3 more wanted men. At this point, I split the squad in 2, and Brake led one half into the desert. Our primary objective was the assault on Fort Mirage up north, but also we were looking to find some food because feeding the army was starting to get tough. Holy shit, this is gonna hurt. These big beasts can do a lot of damage. Indeed, they did a lot of damage, but we also butchered them for a lot of meat, and in the end, that was a price Brake expected his men to pay. We then spotted a rebel farmer's camp being assailed by skimmers, and we joined in on the fun, just so we could steal their beds and lick our previous wounds. After another skirmish, we continued on, and at the dawn of day 46, Brake spotted Fort Mirage on the horizon. It was well defended, so I sent Torquenator to sneak ahead and unlock the front gates for our assault, which made Lord Mirage slightly confused. Oh, these turrets hurt. Get them, boys. Don't let them shoot us. We cleared the rooftop with ease. Then we robbed the place blind, leaving nothing, not even Lord Mirage himself, behind. On the way back, we chopped up another herd of Garo, and once we returned back home, we had plenty of meat to cook. And Combat Unit made me very happy. Combat Unit is finally at 60 armor smithing, which means he can start making the high-grade quality armor. While I waited for Unit to craft his first armor, Brake did what Brake does best. There are no lords amongst us, so welcome to the squad, Mirage. We then built a weaponsmithy as well, and then it finally happened. Let's go, boys. We got our first high-grade samurai armor. Now we can start beefing up, and we're gonna become one tough army. But there was a lot of work to be done before we could become one tough army, and I'm not gonna bore you with day-to-day details. But know that from day 47 all the way to day 84, we prepared for war. Combat Unit and his army of armorers crafted samurai armor for everyone. Brake continued to recruit wanted men and women, and even a squad of Hive soldiers from his old village. We fought off frequent raids from the nearby bandits and greedy slavers, and every so often we ventured into the desert to slaughter Garo herds for food and skins. We trained, we traded, we crafted, and we built up sand into a proper city, until finally we were ready for war. And thusly, on day 84, a mountain of armored men marched into the desert, and their first goal was Rot. This is a giant slave city that we need to destroy And especially we need to get to the noble's house over here, and that's where he's gonna begin. Luckily for us, there were no harpoon turrets on the walls. Alas, there were plenty of guards patrolling the sandy streets of the slaver paradise, and the most dangerous of them all were the samurai guards. I decided to bypass those by sneaking into the noble house with Morak Tong. There is no noble in here. Excuse me. Where's the noble? But no noble, no problem. Because we just started chopping up everyone to pieces like a well-oiled ex-Yugo government grinding its people into dirt through corruption and incompetence. I have no idea if there is a noble anywhere in this madness. But if there is, we'll find them. We fought through the day and we fought through the night, making enemies with everyone who dared to challenge us. We stole from the slavers, we assisted the escaping slaves, and generally, we were a nuisance. Oh, there's a noble hunter coming in here. Guys, we need to attack that noble hunter. Alas, the bastard fled into the night like a rat fleeing a cruise ship piloted by an Italian captain, and we never caught up to him. But we did find this treasure. Hey, I finally found a noble. He's right here. Oh, let's go. We made sure no one was left standing. Then we melted into the desert at dawn like a badly remembered nightmare. But for Slave Master Kaga, the nightmare was just about to begin as we arrived back to the safety of Sand, where Break and his lieutenants presided over his final fate. Well, that guy is now dead. First of the Slave Masters down, you'll have to see it. Our first fight was now over, but that fight was just the beginning. My next goal was Tengu's Vault, the most secure prison in the United Cities, and so, once again, the wall of steel and muscle marched into the desert. The fortress was protected by some of the fiercest samurai in the whole desert, but the question was, could they stand against my horde? Who's the samurai now, you samurai? But soon, only corpses remain of those fearsome samurai, and I sent Torquinator ahead to scout the prison itself, where she spotted the vault warden, and so the rest of the team charged straight in. If this was your most secure prison, maybe you should have secured it a bit more, huh? The guards or the warden stood little chance against us, so they presented me with a little gift. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our first May 2 weapon. A jit. I gave that jit to Headroach, our main blunt user, and told Brew to kidnap the vault warden. Then it was time to rob the place blind and release the prisoners, who are all pretty much insane. There goes Yabuta of the Sands, one of the most dangerous criminals out there. Oh, they're already chasing him. We then returned back home, where 3 of the scrawny prisoners actually decided to join the good fight, so I set them to training. Break peeled a potato the next morning, while Brew decided to go scout what has become of Rot. Oh, it's a ruin. Let's go, boys. It's indeed a ruin. No slaves would have to suffer that infernal place ever again, but there were many more slave camps spread around the great desert, like microplastic infesting millennials, and so I decided to attack the slave farm on the southern edge next. We fought our way through the desert until Break spotted the well-lit farm, and we charged in. This place is not nearly as well protected as the other place was, and so I decided to go straight for the noble's house. Guys, there's the slave mistress. Why is everybody ignoring the slave mistress? Go get her. We got ourselves another May 2 weapon off of her, and with that our victory was secured. So we helped the slaves break out of their cages, we stole the food from the slavers, we killed anything that walked, and by the time morning came, the place was free. With our job done, I decided to push further north in search of another slave camp, but I got surprised by this along the way. Scratch decided to join us, and look at his stats. Minus 17 attack, minus 24 strength. The man cannot even freaking walk because he's overloaded just by having pants on. I couldn't just leave the man behind, so I assigned Kuro to carry him as we followed the slavers escaping into the desert, who led us to Grindstone, a giant slave camp in the middle of nowhere. Boys, there is nothing to it. Just charge the samurai guarding the gates and let's get in here, shall we? The carnage was absolute. There were a lot more guards and slavers here, but also the slaves, and once they realized we came to help, they began fighting back and escaping en masse. I let my men run wild, while Break searched for the noble responsible for the suffering of hundreds imprisoned there. Oh, there he is, Slave Master Ruben. We gotta chop this guy up. After that, we were on a cleanup duty, but with how many guards there were, the cleanup duty lasted the whole day. But when the evening came, we were ready to leave with many escapees in tow. Oh Jesus, guys, stop joining me. How many of you are gonna join now? Damn. As we returned back to Sand, Brake began his day by peeling potatoes, and with the death of those slave masters secured, I sent Brew out to scout what has become of the places we raided recently. Tengu's vault is just empty besides some of the prisoners that did not want to escape last time. So Brew rescued those guys again, and then he even spotted Yabuta over the sands getting his ass kicked by some skimmers. The slave farm down south was a ruin now, and the same was true for Grindstone. Okay, our job here on the southern side is now done, which means we have 2 more targets here, Port North and Port South down here. So we decided to go towards Port North next. But then I noticed this. Elite Hunter Assault moving towards Sand, huh? We'll have to move back, I guess, then. We caught up to them at Stoat, which was looking much worse for wear now that the slave camps were falling. Well, I guess we are attacking Stoat now, instead of what we actually wanted to attack. That's fine. We chopped up the elite assault squad, we chopped up the samurai guarding the city, we chopped up bounty hunters, and basically we chopped up everyone who dared raise their arms against us. Get the fat guy. Oh, he's starving? Oh, we actually made them starve. You love to see that. Everybody hated us now, just like everybody hated the English at the Euros. But unlike the English, we did not shit the bed on the last step. Instead, we brought the potatoes home. The next morning, we left for Port North again, and this time around, we actually made it there, picking up a little gift along the way. Oh, I didn't even notice. We have hunted down a noble hunter over here. Oh, look at that. The port seemed small in comparison to the camps we dealt with before, and it was already late when we announced ourselves. Alright, slavers, let's get this over with. Slaves actually tried to rob Lady Kana, the noble who rightfully belonged to us now, but Torquenator managed to reclaim our loot. The little camp was easy pickings after that, and we even got our hands on another noble hunter. Yes. Chop him up. Don't let him escape. We left the place late at night in search of Port South. Alas, before we made it there, I noticed this. Ooh, Noble's Wrath Assault. Moving towards Sand. I wasn't sure if you could catch up to them, but since Port South wasn't where I expected it to be, I decided to make a run for it. I can't see the Noble Assault anywhere on the map. I have no idea where they are, so I have no idea if you can make it back home in time. But we did make it home on time, and since the assault was nowhere to be seen, Brake just ordered the 3 potatoes to be peeled. In the morning, I then finally spotted the assault group stuck in the hills behind the sand, so I sent Brew out there to taunt them to my city gates. Where are you, silly billies? Look, Brew's got 81k bounty. Don't you want that? Alas, Brew's teasing worked just as much as regular women flirting with all the furries in my Discord channel, and their beefy hiver leader Igor refused to engage me, so I decided to engage him. We might have the numerical advantage, but they have the murderous advantage. His samurai melted in seconds, but Igor stood his ground with his 114 toughness that gave him 75% damage resistance. I knew my rangers would be the most important in staggering him and bleeding him, and slowly but surely his wounds began stacking up. Oh my god, look at this guy. He's become a human pincushion or a hiver pincushion. He had some reinforcements, but those melted in moments as well, and then we cornered the big boy on top of a rock until finally. Come on boys, just a little bit more. Hey, there we go, we got him. We left the samurai to feed the bone dogs and went home to peel a hive potato. I then sent Brew on a scouting mission to check what happened with Port North. There's a bunch of hivers just chilling over here, but otherwise, yeah. This is a ruin as well, you'll love to see it. I also wanted to see if he could find Port South. Alas, besides some ruins, I found fuck all. So my guess was Genesis removed it or moved it somewhere completely else. But no port, no problem. Because I decided to pay Trader's Edge a visit next and thank them for the gift of Igor. It was one thing fighting slave camps, but assaulting a giant city was about to get rough. We have to disable these harpoons first. We have to just run past all the guards, make it up here, disable the harpoons. And that's what we did. We just ran in like crazy 8-breasted chicken pumped with everything that makes Big Pharma rich. And that's where the shit got real. Get the harpoon gunners, boys. This is really important. We have to destroy these motherfuckers up here. I assigned my rangers to their harpoons and we turned their weapons against the United City soldiers, which was a beautiful sight to behold. Some of my men did go down fighting, but once we found their noble leader, the tide turned to our side and we regrouped at the entrance to the Trader's Edge proper, fighting every step along the way. We charged into the trader's throne room where Deathlord showed his saber up the noble's ass. Then we made our escape to peel more potatoes at Sand. Elite Hunter Assault coming again. Well, you don't really need to tempt me with good times. I wasn't worried about the assault, so I left Mr. Cheese in charge of Sand, while Break led a small group to the far south of Kenshi, in search of the legendary anti-slaver Tin Fist himself. We dodged fire from the sky, we avoided monsters on our way, and in the end we even had to climb a volcano to finally get an audience with the big man himself. You're a legend of the people, comrade, hell yeah. Good stuff, they like us already. With the alliance secured, we decided to rest at Spring, and then continue back north in the morning with a group of anti-slaver guerrillas in tow. It took us the whole day to cross the ravaged lands back to Sand, where everyone was just chilling on the eve before the big fight. I decided to even take the escaped slaves with us for the final battle, and so on the morning of day 98, we left Sand and marched into the desert as an army of steel and flesh, bent on destruction of the desert capital and death of its lord, the Emperor Tango himself. The city looks a bit deserted. There's like an outlaw there guarding the gates. There's nobody on the harpoons. So we just charged in and assaulted a local noble who was patrolling the streets with his entourage. We beat up a couple of slavers and released more slaves, then it was time to finish this. Alright guys, it's really time we go for the throne room. Let's end this in style, shall we? We slaughtered his elite guards and we assaulted the Emperor in his throne room. Get him, Break. Chop the guy up, let's see how he's gonna protect himself in here. He was capable of dishing out damage and he was strong, but without armor he fell quickly to our blades. Holy shit, look at that weapon! 6 cutting damage? That is insane. After that, all we had to do was clean out the remaining elite guards, and then, with Lord Tengu in tow, Break led his squad back into the desert, leaving the dead and empty heft behind. We returned back to Sand the next morning, where Break peeled the one final potato. And there it is, boys, there it is. Lord Tengu, the emperor of the whole Great Desert, is now dead. The future is here. Alas, the future was not bright, for the Great Desert was still in turmoil. Stoat was taken over by the Yabuta outlaws, who made the ruins of the once great city their new home. Shobata and Bark, the cities we never actually attacked, were still in the hands of their local nobles. Heft just looked empty and ruined, and Trader's Edge was taken over by our friends the anti-slavers, who led a running battle with the samurai who still occupied the neighboring hang. It took us 100 days to bring down the slave trade in the Great Desert, but now that the slave masters were all dead, Break's job here was done. Shout out to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. And my friends, what are you waiting for? Go play War Thunder today for free on PC, PlayStation or Xbox. But first, click my link in the description or pinned comment below and use it to register right now and claim your bonus pack of goodies, including multiple premium vehicles, in-game currency and more. Now here's a secret for all of you who actually made it to the end of this video. I'm already in the process of recording more Kenshi, so if you'd like to be a part of the story, submit your character and their backstory in the comments below or on my Discord. Thanks for watching.